Diversity chats, where we bridge the gaps of diversity and destroy ignorance before it destroys another life. Today I have a guest with me, one of my college mates, who is, you have to tell me how you identify as far as like illustrator, artist, fine arts, I don't know. But we're going to get into that. But first, I just want to give an intro, shout out. So, like, here's some of her art. It's on my tab. It's on my tablet. Those characters. So I love your art so much. It makes me happy. And I love seeing it evolve, too. Like, I remember how it looked. Like, you have different styles that it's, like, evolved into this currently. So definitely chat about that. And want to hear about not only your art, but learn about your influences and you as the artist. Since we're talking about diversity, we want to talk about the people behind the cool things that they're doing, too. So if you can introduce yourself, please tell us your name.
My name is Danielle. It's nice to meet everyone.
Yes, Danielle is here with us. And Danielle, if you don't mind sharing where you're from, where you're at right now in the world.
I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
Nice. And if you don't mind sharing this as well, your age or range, somewhere where you are.
Let's say I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 30s and I'm blessed.
I'm in my 30s. Yes, thank you for sharing that. And then the other question I like to ask is, what is the ethnic group that you identify as?
I identify as African American.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to be talking about the kind of art that you do. Let's start there. So how do you identify like as an artist? Like, what kind of artist are you?
I love animation, but I do a lot of illustration. So my art is fantasy type and with an anime style to it. If you look at a lot of the characters' eyes, it has that anime style to it. Mm-hmm. So it's a range, but I love it.
That's really cool. So like you do illustrations, you love animation, and you're inspired by like anime. Okay. And then when did you first get into art?
I was drawing in the 2nd and 3rd grade, but when I really knew I wanted to get into it was in the 4th grade. I remember saying at that time that when I grow up, I want to be a cartoonist. Because I didn't know the word animator at the time, so I would always tell people, I'm going to be a cartoonist when I grow up. And I would take pictures off my shirt, have a big paper, and just draw what I saw on my shirt. Ended up sticking on my wall and just started looking at different things, mainly cartoons, and would just draw them constantly. And it just kept on developing from there. I even had a teacher when I was in the 5th grade because he had saw my work. He encouraged me to go to CCAD around that time because they were doing Saturday classes for the youth where they could have improved in their art. But I wasn't sure about it, so I never did. But I stayed in continuing and drawing, despite that. So 4th grade was definitely the year that I was influenced to get more into art.
Oh, that's cool. That's so early. I love it. And I will give a shout out to continuing education at Columbus College Art and Design because I used to teach there too with the teachers. So I really love that program. And then I'm interested in like who inspired you? Did you feel inspired by anyone, or you just were like, I want to be able to do what I see, and nobody in particular, like no famous artist or anything like that?
Not that I can think of off the moment. It was just looking at a drawing because I grew up watching cartoons. Then my brother, dad, and sister watched a lot of anime, which influenced me even more. So I think it was that. My brother, he would draw, but not as much as I did. But I think that kind of helped to, keep moving me forward with him drawing and then just seeing stuff. I definitely, when I think it was high school, I was influenced by Samurai Jack. Even though I never drawn in that type of style, but I always liked the artistry from that. So I would say some of that had an influence on what I did.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Wow. Your whole family was in there. It sounded like not your mom maybe, but watching anime, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did it like in college because, you know, like, I don't remember that building, but maybe it's the Crane Center or something, wherever like the communal space was. All the animators were watching like the anime stuff, and I was like, "Yes, this is what I'm watching," you know, because that's what's on, and I don't have a car, and I have nowhere else to be. So, but I did fall for one of them. I can't remember what it was. Something with a wolf. I don't know, but I did enjoy watching that one. So I'm curious, who your audience is, like, for your art.
Mine is geared toward African American kids because I always wanted them to have something positive to see themselves as. Because, you know, I didn't grow up seeing that. You know, I like cartoons, I like anime, but there wasn't really a lot of, you know, diversity in that. So when I got more into art, and I always tell myself when I get older, I want to draw characters that when kids see themselves, you know, they're seeing, when they look at the art, they're seeing themselves. They're seeing the character because the character is resembling, you know, their color, complexion, the hairstyle, and everything. So it's geared towards kids. Anyone, you know, I welcome them to enjoy it. But yeah, the influence is definitely for African American kids.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. That's special because it's kind of weird. Like, you don't notice it unless you don't look for it. Unless you look for it, but like, you might try to find something, like even like a greeting card that you're going to send it to someone of an ethnicity outside of like the Caucasian fair skin ethnicity, and then, or white, I don't know which people prefer, but it's like, you're like, I feel like I would like to have something that looks a little bit more like the recipient, you know, just like out of respect or whatever. Or even as a giver, you might want to have something that looks a little bit more like you. So it's really cool that you do art that has like that melanin drip on there. I just make that up. And so what cultures have influenced you? You did mention anime. So just like for the sake of like not talking to a fellow artist or someone that knows what you're talking about, what is anime and like where does that come from?
Anime, it originated in Japan. So they're the ones that came up with the characters with the, you know, big eyes, different colors, and it all started over in Japan, and just my brother and father were watching it a lot, so it influenced me, and it's stuck with me since. Yeah, I love the style that they do, and if people that are into anime, they would recognize it when they see my style. So yeah,
it's like for American, maybe this is inspired by anime, but like for American like dolls or whatever, ours would be like the Bratz, right? Like the big eyeball,
yeah,
animation, or not animation, but characters. And so I have like a love for Korean language and culture. Where were you first inspired by Korean culture and art?
2015. I guess it's been 5 years ago. Because I always wanted to learn Spanish. Because I remember being 9 years old and I told my mom I want to learn Spanish, but I didn't stick to it. And in 2015, I came across a video where they were singing in Korean. I was like, I really like that. So I looked it up because I didn't even know they were Korean at the time. I kept hearing K-pop, and I'm like, okay, what in the world is K-pop? So, yeah, when I looked up, I'm like, oh, okay. And I came across a girl named Megan Bowen. She lives over in Korea, and she used to, on her channel, she would go to different places in Korea, and at the end of it, she would have a little vocabulary section and tell you what each word meant and stuff. And, you know, God laid on my heart, you know, like, why don't I actually learn what those symbols mean and, you know, actually learn, you know, their language and the vocabulary. So, yeah, I started doing that. And then from doing that, with my art, I looked at it as a way to get better at Korean. So I'm like, okay, whenever I'm posting my stuff, I want to also incorporate Korean into it. So it's something that I'm constantly doing that will start sticking in my head. And, you know, I also would tell people to, you know, if there's anything that I'm right and wrong, just correct me. So I'm not writing anything negative and, you know, not realizing it. But I usually try to look up the definition before posting stuff in Korean, so I'm making sure I'm putting it out right. But yeah, it was just 2015, gained an interest in it, and it stuck with me. I really want to be where I can speak it fluently and also incorporate it into my artwork, because I would like to, once I get my animation done, do a subtitle that would be all in Korean for it.
Nice. Right. Are you able to say anything about your animation right now? Like, what is it about or anything like that?
Not right now until I get it copyrighted. Okay. But it's I'm gonna say a little bit. It's about it's a girl that's having a dream, and she's in a fantasy type world.
That sounds really cool. You didn't even say nothing, so that's really cool. As far as like Korean language and such, like how do you say hello and goodbye in Korean?
You say 안녕 하세요. That's hi.
안녕 하세요.
Yeah, 안녕 하세요.
하세요.
And 안녕. What's it? 안녕 가세요. 안녕 가세요. 안녕 가세요 is you tell a person go in peace.
I like that. Go in peace.
Yeah, not they like would say
anything rude. It's like a blessing when they leave.
Yeah, it's a positive. And whenever you add the word "sayo," it's like an honorific. You're being, it's like the highest honorific in talk, because they have different levels of talk. So some words you shorten it, and it's more of a casual language, but you only say it to people that are around your age. Someone that's younger than you, they're supposed to speak more formal to a person that's older. So you have to watch how you talk to different people.
You don't want to shoot you.
Yeah, like, what you say to me?
One more time.
The eating part.
And like, so I'm curious, like, with Instagram and other ways that you're able on social media to connect with people overseas, like, have you been able to connect with anybody in Korea that, like, form a relationship through that, your interest in the language and everything?
No, but I'm following a Korean teacher on Instagram right now, and they were offering free classes. So I'm like, you know, I should sign up for that. And they got in touch with me yesterday, and they're going to be starting classes pretty soon. So they said, hey, we picked you as one of the 5, because they only picked 5 people. So yeah, I was glad that they picked me. Thank you. So it's an opportunity. I'm actually going to be able to converse and, you know, get out of my comfort zone and, you know, be able to speak the language.
That's really cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting. So do you want to go there one day? Like to Korea?
Yeah.
And if
I would like to.
Okay. And if so, like, since you do want to go, like, where's one place you know you want to go to? Is there like a park or?
Seoul, Korea. I definitely want to go to Seoul, Korea. And they have a lot of animation companies there. So I would like to see also, you know, what they do over there as well. Because I didn't realize a lot of the cartoons we watched in the 90s, was made over in South Korea. I had no idea. Yeah.
Okay.
They would do the storyboards here. So they would have different, they would do the storyboard where they did the drawings and everything, but then they would send it over to South Korea to do the actual animating.
Wow.
I had no idea, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So the outsourcing has been happening for a while.
Yeah, it has, and I didn't know that.
That's pretty interesting, though. What was I going to say? Hold on. I had another question for that. Oh, yeah, no, just for Seoul. Is that where, like, the largest Christian church in the world is? Or what it used to be? What's his name?
I'm not really sure.
I think I have I borrowed the book. I don't have it anymore. It's about faith. But I think he has, like, the largest church in the world, or at least in Korea. I think it's the world. Or he did. Anyways. I don't think I'm making it up, but I've been sure and been wrong before, so I don't know. But so that's really cool. Thank you for sharing with us a little bit about Korean inspiration for you. And let's talk a little bit about like the business end of art. So what do you do normally, like, for your art? You're like more so commission pieces, or do you have like a pop-up, or how do you usually get your art out there?
I do a lot of commissions, and then I sell a lot of my stuff online. I used to do student art sales a lot. Mm-hmm. I stopped back in 2013. And, well, it's because of a person, but yeah, I stopped. And then they had changed up the way they were doing the sales. So it used to be if you signed up right at 8 o'clock, you could be a part of CCAD, and then CCAD changed it where you had to send in your work to them, and then they had people judge on whether or not they accepted your work. So they would pick different people, because they said people were complaining that they weren't able to be in the student art sale because they weren't able to sign up right at 8 o'clock. So they thought it was best to just have where people can judge and pick who should be in it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do commissions. I've definitely done a lot this year, and yeah, I sell a lot of my stuff online. Mm-hmm. It's like
what? Oh, go ahead.
It's like 4 or 5 different sites that I sell my work on. Yeah.
Do you want to share any of those with us so people can find your artwork?
Zazzle. I sell it on there. I sell it on Redbubble. I actually have the website, but it's long, so I'll just type it down at the bottom. But okay. I do it through Redbubble, Society 6, Etsy. Mm-hmm. There's another one. I'm trying to think of the name. For You Designs. I put my stuff on book bags on there, and sell my stuff on there.
What is your name, like your business name?
It's Renee Designs. And usually I haven't put my name on there. So you'll usually see either Continuous Gifts or Treasured Gift as my name. But I've been going under Renee Designs. And just recently, I'm signing up to get an LLC so my business will be legit. So I'll have to see if I'll still be able to keep that name. If no one has that name here in Ohio, then I can keep it. If not, then I'll change it.
And like, how did you decide on going with an LLC instead of like something else, like a sole proprietorship or something? Like, how did you make that decision?
My aunt introduced me to a page on Facebook called Columbus Black-Owned Businesses. And a woman on there, she said to make sure that you have an LLC because that's a way to protect you. So the IRS doesn't come in and say, hey, you've been selling your stuff and you're not legit. You owe back taxes on everything that, that you have sold to someone and didn't, put it with when you did your taxes. So doing that is a way to protect yourself because she said there was a woman that she knew. She did photography on the side. And she had a lot of people that loved what she did. So she started making a lot of money from that, and people were inboxing her on Facebook, and she was making a lot of money from it. Well, the IRS came in contact with her, and they went on her inbox and looked at all the people that had ever, she had ever did pictures for. So she ended up on the IRS $80,000, and she lost her home because of it. So she, was telling everyone, as side of precaution, do your LLC, then get your EIN number, which is an employee identification number, and that's a way to protect you so that you don't have that situation happen to you. So, and I'm glad I came across that because, I feel sorry for what happened to her.
Yeah, that's harsh. Mm-hmm. IRS merciless. People think they're like advertising with the social media, but you're also leaving a footprint for the government to say, oh, that's what else we need to get out of you.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at. Because on that Columbus Black-owned business, they were saying, because their group has went from 30,000 to, I think, 75,000 members now. But the woman was saying, not all those members are here because they're supporting you. They're here to find, they're here to find anyone that they can tear your business down. So she said it's in your best interest to get an LLC and get an EIN number. So I'm glad my aunt let me know about that page because I wouldn't have known anything about that. So everything that I've done has been a learning process. Mm-hmm. So if I can help anyone that's trying to start a business or anything, those are the things you want to do so that you're not affected.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the lessons you've learned over time other than that really helpful tip about, having the right classification so that the IRS doesn't do all these back taxes on you? Do you have any stories of like hindsight is 2020 kind of experiences?
I had with Zazzle, because Zazzle has where you can have people customize your work. So you can either have where you leave the customize a button on or where you turn it off. And back in 2012, I believe, I have a lot of birthday cards for African American kids. And I had a person buy 10 of them. I was like, oh, okay, I appreciate what they're doing. Thanks for the support. And then I saw maybe 4 months later, they bought 30. And I was like, oh, okay, I got a regular customer. Thank you. I appreciate this. And 2 years later, I'm on there and God laid it on my heart. Who's to say they're not taking off your name on the back of your card and putting their information on there and selling it as if it's theirs? And so after that, the whole month of August in 2014, I spent going through all my birthday cards, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, went through all those and took the customizer button off. And I think it was the very next month, that person purchased again from one of the items I had deleted. And I had to get in touch with Zazzle. I said, I deleted this. How are they able to buy it? And they said, oh, well, we made it where, if they purchased from you before, we made it easy so they can purchase it again. I said, but I deleted it. Like, they shouldn't be able to buy something I deleted. And I said, now, if I, made changes and you do it to that, I don't have a problem with that. But if there's something I deleted, I expect it to be deleted. And they're like, oh, well, we'll look into it and, make sure it doesn't happen again. I never had the person make another purchase. So that tells me that's what they were doing. So I think, but it was a learning, experience. I've had where I've done commissions and it took a lot of time. It took me 2 weeks to get the work done. And I didn't charge them the amount I should have. I did a very low amount because I'm the kind of person I don't want to overdo it. But at the same time, I put in the work and time. And I didn't charge what I should have. And then after giving it to my fellow band, I really didn't give anything. But I'm like, well, my stuff's getting exposure. But Yeah, it's all been a learning process. Learning, okay, know your worth, know what you should be charging people, knowing how to run your business. It's all been a learning process, but been beneficial in the process.
That's cool. And so you're talking about people possibly like removing your information, putting theirs on, using your artwork. Do you want to talk a little bit about like copywriting? Like, how do you protect your art? You know, I know how to copy and paste and remove things. I don't know. So, and I had to do that a lot in college, and it was just like college projects. It wasn't like I was making money off of it. But how do you protect your art? You know, like, do you have any suggestions?
I suggest people have their work copyrighted, because that lets having it done, it gives you exclusive rights. That it shows that the work is yours, that you're able to sell it and make as many copies as you want because it's your published work of the visual arts. And when you go to copyright, if you're an artist, if you do 3D dimensional sculpture, reproduction work of art, photography, jewelry design, technical drawing, or text and architectural work, you want to do that under the work of the visual arts. And that's just a way for you to protect yourself. Once you fill out the information under www.copyright.gov, that's a way for you to protect yourself. When I first started off, that was in 2010 when I got my stuff copyrighted, because my sister had let me know about Zazzle, because I had never heard about it before. And I spent that entire year just drawing a whole lot of stuff, and then went to go get it copyrighted. But before I did, I'm like, okay, let me call and make sure I'm filling this out right. Which I know when you call them, it can take 30 minutes or more, but I'm like, I have to do this, so I'm protecting myself. So I asked the lady, like, okay, what do I need to fill out? What do I not need to fill out? And, she let me know, you do this, you don't have to fill this part out. If you do fill that out with your information, it's public domain, so anyone can see it. So I always know whenever I do that, not to put in my information right there. But so also, too, when you do, on there, you'll see a part that says work for hire. If you don't want the work that you have on there being seen as that, don't mark it, because you're basically giving the rights to someone else. So make sure you don't mark that's left. And then you fill out your information and you pay for the fee, which starting off, I think it used to be $35. Last year it was $55 fee. This year they moved it up to $85. And yeah.
Inflation, where's the math coming from?
I know. And they changed it because you used to could do however many drawings you wanted to have it copyrighted. Now for artists, they only have where you can do 10. So if you have 20 drawings, you can only do 10. And they all have to fall under that certain thing. So if you have, let's say, 9 illustrations and 1 jewelry design, you can't put jewelry design under that because it's not under the same form. So jewelry design would be a whole separate copyright you have to do to pay for. I mean, you want to do it to protect yourself, but the money is a lot, but it's a way to protect yourself. So you do that. It's $85. It helps protect you. And I always, after I get my stuff copyrighted, I put the little copyright symbol on all of my drawings and with the year on it, just to let people know this is mine. You can still have people try to take your stuff, but that's showing right then and there that it's yours. Even putting a watermark with your name across the picture is helpful. And if anyone were to try to take it, put their name over it, it's still yours, because you have on paper, you got it mailed to you, showing that this is your work that you had copyrighted. So they had no permission taking, your stuff. And I came across a video where I can't find the paper, but the guy, he said it would be like a doctor seeing an artist's work and saying, hey, I pay you $10,000 for that painting. He said, you accept it, and then they go about their business. Some weeks later, you're seeing your painting that you did on billboards and a whole bunch of stuff that's a part of the doctor's business. It said he's violated your rights because the only thing he did was buy it. He didn't have the right to sell it. So he's in trouble for doing that because unless there's a form showing that you gave him the rights where he's now the owner of it, he has no right to do it. It has to be written and that y'all both came in agreement for it. So it's all been an eye-opener because even in copywriting, there's loopholes with that where people can change something up and they would say, well, they changed the picture up this much, so, it's technically not yours anymore, even though you can clearly see it's their drawing, but they always trying to find ways to mess things up. But copyright is the best option for you to protect your work. Yeah.
Okay. That's really helpful information. I know I've heard of like bootleg kind of unofficial copywriting to email yourself, kind of have that kind of that footprint or whatnot, or that trail to show that you originated the idea or the concept. But that's so messed up that they're charging so much. I wonder what they were inspired to just like, hey, these artists, they're getting away with doing 100 pieces for $35. So instead we're going to make it 10 pieces, $85. So scamming.
Well, they have that for artists. Photographers, they have where they can, I think, do up to 300. But as far as anyone else, it's only 10 that you can do. And it was never like that before. They changed that this year. Yeah, I don't care for it either. I still got to get my stuff copyrighted, but I like the idea of being able to do a whole bunch of drawings and then have all those drawings at once copyrighted.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, that's inspiration to make sure you sell your pieces, I suppose. So the investment's worth it. But that's really cool. Well, thank you for sharing all that information with us about, your inspiration, you as an artist, and, some business information. I'm going to do my closing, and then if you have any encouragement, please do share it after I do the closing. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in today who watched us here on Diversity Chats, where we bridge the gaps of diversity and destroy ignorance before it destroys another life. And I thank you so much, Danielle, for joining me. And you're what? Danielle's gift? Is that what it is? Danielle.s
gift. Yeah.
Danielle, no S. So Danielle.s gift on Instagram. Yeah. And then did you have any encouragement to share?
Yes. First, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. And I just want to encourage anyone that's getting in the field of art or, anything to not give up, to know that you're worth it. And there's a quote that I learned. I can't think of the woman's name, but it says our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful. Was it not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure? Who are you to, who are you to call yourself? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be fabulous, talented, and brilliant? But who are you not to be? We were all born to make and manifest the glory of God that is within us. And as we continue to shine, we allow others to unconsciously shine too.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. It was in Akilah and the Bee. I'm not sure if you've seen that movie.
I do know. Yes, I know that part. Yeah, with
it's with Lawrence. Yeah, and Lawrence Fishburne. I just can't think of the person in row. I think her name starts with an M, but I always love that quote and encourage other people to not give up, know your worth, keep moving forward.
Oh, Those are some good words to live by for sure. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you, Danielle. And we'll see everybody on the next episode. God bless you. Bye.
Bye.